Kamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavangscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunatam Vitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakhanvitangscha Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prestaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swamin Iti Namine Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine Vancha Kalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhya Evacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namah. He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dinabandhu Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Rishabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Welcome to Saturday Sanga.
Bienvenidos al encuentro de los sábados.
Sounds like we'll have some background sound in Espanol. I think we need to adjust something for your translation.
Español abajo, parece que va a haber que ajustar algo con tu traducción.
Do we not have your channel for this purpose?
¿Tenemos algún canal para conseguir este objetivo?
Where is Dharmagupta?
Hare Krishna Guru Maharaj. This is the second. He just came. He will come half of the minute and he will sold out. So safe the situation.
Okay.
I'm not a technical person.
Yeah. Okay. So I think it would be the same process as you have done in the past. Daityesha, if you can, whatever it was that you do. Somehow this is not happening at present. Anyway, we will begin with our song, starting a new section of Saranagati of Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur. This is Bhakta-anukūla Matra Karyera Svikara, song number 1. And, well, shall we translate first or sing first? Well, we can. Problem is we have to do a technical fix first for translation. Okay, let's sing.
Guru Maharaj, now everything should be fine. Everything.
Yeah, can you check, Daityesha, whether it's okay? I think, yes, now we got it. Okay. So, well, translation first. I will surely execute with utmost care these activities favorable to your pure devotional service. I will feel fondness for those things in this world which are conducive to pure devotion, and with my senses, I will engage them in your service. I will carefully listen to all discussions concerning you, and the satisfaction of my eyes will be to behold your divine abode. I will nourish my body with the sacred remnants of your food and smell the sweet scent of tulsi leaves adorning those offerings. With my hands, I will always execute your service, and I will forever dwell at that place where you abide. I will employ my desires in your devotional service and show anger to those who are envious of you. In this way, may all of my propensities and emotions obtain dignity and glory by being favorable to you. I will consider as favorable to your devotional service anything I do which is favorable to your devotee. Bhaktivinoda knows neither religion nor irreligion. He simply prays that all his activities be conducive for pure devotional service. Okay. Tuwa-bhakti-anukūla jai kārya hoy parama-jatane tāhā koribo niścoy tuwā-bhakta-anukūla jai kārya hoy parama-jatane koribo niścoy bhakta-anukūla jata vishaya saṅsāre koribo tāhāte rati indriyera dvāre bhakta-anukūla jata vishaya saṅsāre koribo tāhāte rati indriyera dvāre śunibo tomar katha jatana koriya rakibo tomara dham nayana bhariya śunibo tomar katha jatana koriya rakibo tomar dham nayana bhariya tomara prasade deha koribo poshan naivedya-tulasī-ghrāna koribo grahan tomara prasade deha koribo poshan naivedya-tulasī-ghrāna koribo grahan kara-dwāre koribo tomara seva sada tomara vasati-sthale vasibo sarvada kara-dwāre koribo tomar sev sada Tomara vasati-sthale vasivo sarvada. Tomara sevai kam niyoga koribo. Tomara vidveshi jane krodha dekaibo. Tomara sevai kam niyoga koribo. Tomara vidveshi jane krodha dekaibo. Ei-rūpe sarva-vr ara sarva-bhāva. Tuwa-anukūla hoye labhuk prabha. Ei-rūpe sarva-vr ara sarva-bhāva. Tuwa-anukūla hoye labhuk prabha. tuwā-bhakta-anukūla jaha jaha kori. Tuwā-bhakti-anukūla boli tāhā. Tuwa-bhakta-anukūla jaha kori. Tuwa-bhakti-anukūla boli tāhā. Bhaktivinoda nahi jane dharma dharma. Bhakta-anukūla tāhā sarva-karma. Bhaktivinoda nahi jane dharma dharma. Bhakta-anukūla tāhā sarva-karma. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Haribo, 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 Gaur Haribo, Nitai Gaur Haribo, 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 Gaur Haribo. Again, the translation with the Bengali together. I will surely execute with utmost care those activities favorable to your pure devotional service. Tuwa-bhakti-anukūla jai kārya hoy. So kārya, the word can mean duty. It means literally what should be done or what can be done. Sanskrit word really related to the word karma. We see it a few times in Bhagavad Gita. And but here the key word of this song and the whole section, there will be a few songs, is Anukula, which has the sense of following and favorable. The prefix anu in this context means following. And kula has the sense like family, following the family, or you could say having resemblance or going along with well, we could say along with tradition, possibly. Whoops, I better get this off. 1 second. Let's turn off WhatsApp so we don't get beeps. Okay. Yeah, tuwā-bhakti-anukūla, your devotion, favorable to your devotion, jj, whatever, kārya hoy, is going to be done. Parama-jatane, tāhā koribo niścoy. Jatane, effort, parama, supreme effort, tāhā koribo niścoy. And we'll see a lot of this in the song, this future tense, I will do. Niścoy, with determination and faith. And then the second verse, I will feel fondness for those things in this world which are conducive to pure devotion, and with my senses I will engage them in your service. Bhakta-anukūla jata vishaya sangsare. In Bengali, we've had this a few times, the word samsara in this world can also mean the family, in the family, sangsare. Vishaya just means objects or things. Bhakta-anukūla jata, jata I think is yat, whatever. Koribo tāhāte rati, indriyera, through dwāra means a gate, and in Hindi, and I guess also in Bengali, it means, gives the instrumental sense, through or by means of the senses. Koribo tāhāte rati, I will do with fondness, rati. I'll do those things with relish, rati. And then śunibo, the next one is about hearing. I will carefully listen to all discussions concerning you, and the satisfaction of my eyes will be to behold your divine abode. Śunibo tomar kata jatana koriya. Koriya is that gerund form. I having or engaging in the effort, jatana, of I will hear, śunibo, tomar kata, your discussions. Dekibo, I will see, tomar dhamma, your abode. Nayana bodhiya. Nayana means eyes, and bodhiya, satisfaction. Yeah, also in Hindi, when something is very nice, you hear devotees, you hear people expressing bodhiya, bodhiya. It is excellent. Tomar prasad deho koribo poshan. I will nourish my body with the sacred remnants of your food and smell the sweet scent of tulsi leaves adorning those offerings. tomar prasade deha koribo poshan. Poshan means nourishment. I will do the nourishment, deha, of the body, prasade, tomar prasade, with your prasad, naivedya-tulasī-ghrāna, koribo grahan, I will smell the tulsi, which is ghrāna. What does it say here? Adorning, yes, adorning the naivedya. Naivedya is the offering of food. Kara-dwāre koribo tomar seva sada, tomar vasati-sthale śunibo sarva-vr. With my hands, I will always execute your service, and I will forever dwell at that place where you abide. So kara-dwāre, again the word dwāre, through or by means of kara, my hands, like we have kara-tala, the hand symbols. Kara-tala literally just means the surface of the hand, the palm of the hand, and somehow that's come to mean the the instrument that we play with the palm of the hands. So kara-dwāre, koribo, I will do. What will I do? Tomar seva, your service. When will I do it? Sada, always. Tomar vasati-sthale, your place of residing, vasati. Śunibo, I will sit. Literally, I will sit. You'll always hear in the Mayapur Chandradoy Mandir, after Mangal Artik, there are many visitors. In addition to the Western devotees, there are many Bengali visitors. And there's always one devotee, one brahmachari, I don't remember his name now, but he always gives a 10 or 15-minute talk to the guests and explains to them about chanting Hare Krishna. And before that, he announces Sobai Boshun, Sobai Boshun, Boshun, Boshun. Boshun means please sit in the respect form. Or in the friendly form, it would be Bosho, for one person, Bosho, just sit. So here it's Śunibo, I will sit. And when will I sit? Sarvada, always. Sarvada is, again, very Sanskritic. I will employ my desires, tomar sevai kam, kama, of course. We think of kama sometimes, it's Prabhupada would translate as lust, but it has the more general sense of desire. Tomar sevai kam niyoga koribo. I will employ my desires in your devotional service. Niyoga would be to employ. Koribo, doing the employing, engaging. Tomar vidveshi jane krodha dekayibo. I will show anger to those who are envious of you. Vidveshi. Dveshi, again Sanskritic, person against, averse. Vidveshi, someone who's very much against. Jane, those people. Krodha, anger. Dekayibo, I will show. So it's dekibo would be I will see, and dekaibo, I will show. In this way, may all my propensities and emotions obtain dignity, prabhav, and glory by being favorable to you. Ei-rūpe, in this way, in this form, sarva-vr, all my propensities, all my inclinations, all my ways of being and doing, ara, and sarva-bhāva, all my emotions, my feelings, my moods, tuwa-anukūla hoye, labhuk prabhav. Labhuk is will obtain, or I may obtain. Prabhav, he's translating as dignity and glory, which is nice. Tuwa-bhakti-anukūla jaha kori, tuwā-bhakti-anukūla boli tāhā. I will consider as favorable to your devotional service anything I do which is favorable to your devotee. So, bhakta-anukūla, favorable to your devotee, jaha, whatever kori, whatever I do, to a bhakti-anukūla, boliya, with the apostrophe, it's indicating a ya is subtracted. Boliya, I will consider as bhakti-anukūla, tuwa-bhakti-anukūla, as favorable to you. Tāhā dori. Not sure. Carrying, maybe. Finally, Bhaktivinoda knows neither religion nor irreligion. He simply prays that all his activities be conducive for pure devotion to you. Bhaktivinoda nahi jane dharma adharma. Jane, he does not know, dharma and adharma. Bhakti-anukūla tarhau sab karma. He simply prays that all his activities, sub-karma, will be bhakti-anukūla, will be favorable. Ha'u, may they be favorable. Now someone may object and say, what is this? He doesn't know what is dharma or adharma. Doesn't it say in Bhagavad Gita, chapter 18, that this is knowledge or intelligence in the mode of ignorance, to not know, or maybe mode of passion, to not know what is dharma, what is adharma, or to get them mixed up. Well, Srila Raghunath Das Goswami, in his Manashiksha, one of his prayers to his mind is something like, na dharmam, shutigana niruktam kilakuru, Rajye Radha Krishna Prachara Paricharyam Ihatanu. He says, I'm not dharma, not adharma. Shrutigana niruktam. The dharma and adharma as described in the Vedas. I'm not interested in that. Radhe Braje Radha Krishna Prachura Paricham Iha Tanu. I'm only interested in worship of Radha and Krishna. So it kind of, there's two, we can say two extremes. There's two ends to knowing Dharma and adharma, or not knowing. So on the high end, that's what Bhaktivinoda Thakur is speaking of, is the high end of this, we may say, a kind of transcendental ignorance. Not ignorance, but ignoring, or rather seeing beyond, seeing the higher purpose of Dharma. That's what Bhaktivinoda Thakur is speaking about. So, Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur ki jai. These several songs will be about Anukula, favorable devotion, bhakti-anukūla Matra, that which is only favorable, Svikara. Svikara means acceptance. And then I guess it's the final section of the group of songs is Bhakti Pratikul, what is not favorable. But then there's another sort of additional section after that of something like 13 songs glorifying the holy name. Okay, Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur ki jai. Hare Krishna. Welcome everyone again. Those of you who have just come in, I'm happy to see you all, and thank you for joining us on this auspicious day. Today is, according to some calendars, today is Diwali or Deepavali, the day of lighting lamps. In celebration, there's a few celebrations that kind of overlap. It gets a little complicated, but for the devotees of Lord Rama, it's especially celebrating his return journey to Ayodhya. The way was lit for him. Although, of course, Lord Rama doesn't need any external lighting to know which way to go, still, as an expression, as a gesture of devotion, naturally the devotees want to offer some assistance. And so in India, this becomes a major festival. It's something like New Year's for people all over India, and you'll receive, nowadays, you'll receive happy Diwali wishes and maybe cards. I think this was picked up from the Christian tradition of sending Christmas cards, which I think in turn was developed by the card industry as a way of making money.
Yeah.
But anyway, happy Diwali, we can say. And may our hearts be illuminated, not just on this day, but every day. And may we also, even though the Lord needs no illumination, may we illuminate the way for the Lord to remain in our hearts and to lead us back to Him. Tomorrow is Govardhan Puja, and I suspect this Govardhan Puja for most of us will be a bit different from how we are accustomed to celebrate Govardhan Puja, since many of us are in some sort of isolation or semi-isolation, we can make up for our external conditions with our meditations, our manasika meditations. I remember, this was many years ago, seeing pictures. I think they were just 2 or 3 or 4 still photos of devotees who had started a project in the high mountains of Bolivia, in a very remote place, practically nothing there. And they were celebrating Govardhan Puja. And there were maybe 3 devotees. And they had constructed a small Govardhan hill, and they had on a little table, and they were circumambulating, and in this way celebrating. So we might also want to remember that Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu blessed Srila Sanatana Goswami with a shila, a stone of Govardhan, together with the blessing that, considering his advanced age by this time, rather than doing his daily Govardhan puja all the way around, Govardhan's 22 kilometers, he could simply walk around, or maybe make obeisance around, whatever, this one stone. I'm curious now, how many of you have Govardhan shilas with you in your homes? So there's a fair number of you. So those of you who have, you can please also, in your manasa puja for Govardhan puja, perhaps meditate that all the rest of the devotees who don't, who are assembled here, and maybe others you know, who may not have Govardhan Shila and may not be at Govardhan, can be blessed by your Govardhan Shila on Govardhan Puja Day, because we are warned that we are supposed to worship Govardhan hill as a protection from the snakes. So I don't know if you have snakes, dangerous snakes in your area. Here in the area where I'm staying, we see very small snakes. They don't look very dangerous. Sometimes we see little snakes. Daityesha, do you have snakes down there? Oh, I guess you're nodding. That's okay. Yeah. Whatever you're saying, it's nice. You're on a different channel, so we don't hear you. Okay. Yes, what else is to be announced? The sadder things to announce today. I just read the report just today has departed His Holiness Bhakti Madhurya Govinda Swami Maharaj. I had mentioned him. He was in very difficult condition. Govinda Maharaj was one of the first 100 disciples of Srila Prabhupada, joining the devotees in 1968. The last 15 years he's been based in Delhi, and despite considerable problems with health, he's been very energetically preaching all of this time, all of these years. And also Mother Krishna Nandini, also from America, who I was surprised to read. She had 10 children, and she was very much involved in the Grihasta team project, and was very much, I didn't know her personally, but she's very much loved by the devotees in America. She was very energetic. I saw one discussion she had on YouTube recently, very energetic, very, you can say, deeply dedicated soul, we could say that. Probably there would be recordings of both of them on the internet now. Everything is available online. And so we offer our prayers and more prayers for their moving on back home, back to Godhead. A glorious life, leading to glorious death, leading to glorious next life. That is devotional service. Today, we're going to have a surprise guest in a few minutes. And he's an old friend of mine. I will say he is an old friend. And I'll say something more about him when he appears. Before that, maybe just a little bit of time for some show and tell. If there's anyone who wanted to say something before.
Guru Maharaj Mataji sign in for sharing.
Sorry, who?
Mataji Dira Lalita.
Okay.
And yeah, that's it.
Okay.
So far.
Hare Krishna. Can you hear me?
Hare Krishna. Yes.
Krishna Guru Maharaj and Godfathers, God sisters. I will just say a couple of words, very short, that sometimes when the mind is very creative and when there is no possibility to express it properly, then all this creativity piles up in my mind. So I'd only dress deities twice a week in the evening, and I don't get chance to dress them in the morning, obviously because of COVID and Corona. So I'm really missing that creative part of arranging or dressing the deities in the way for the morning show, for the morning darshan. So, and also in my mind, I started writing something which is more of a drama, as if like, what would my friends and I in imaginary valley offer to Krishna? what kind of I don't know if I should say lila, what kind of situation would we arrange for Krishna. So I started going off the plot a bit, and then I was thinking I should learn actually first how to write dramas. So I started reading first from Guru Maharaj's book, In Praise of My Preceptors. He wrote here 3 short dramas that I was very impressed with, and it's very, I would say, one has to have knowledge of many different things in order to write those dramas. And then I was thinking, you know, I would like to also read dramas of Srila Rupa Goswami that we are following, that we're all followers of through our Guru Maharaj and Guru Parampara and Srila Prabhupada. And I somehow was inspired to, I didn't know where to go, what copy to buy, what copy to get, obviously not having a knowledge. And I've ordered this book from Govardhan Madhava, from translated by His Holiness Bhanuswami Maharaj. And when I started reading the book, it was the most delightful book that I have actually ever read. There are 3 things that, so it means I need to read the book about probably 3-4 times in order first to form the understanding of the plot of the book. And then a humor in this book. It's just, I've laughed through the book all the way through, especially laughing at a character, Madhumangal's scolding Jatila. that was the best part of the humor. And also, a 3rd time that I would read the book is to learn about the description, about the language that Srila Rupa Goswami uses to describe characters, emotion of the characters, and the groves and the places where that takes place. So that was only my little show and tell to inspire everyone to read it if you would like to. And it's absolutely amazing. I can't wait to read it again and again. As I'm not that scholarly as a person, so I need to read more and more in order to understand it. And also, I would like to ask a question, Guru Maharaj. Are we allowed to read books like that?
That's a funny question. It's funny because first you got the book and then you read it and then you're asking.
I apologize deeply. I couldn't help myself. I was very inspired to read it.
Yeah, I think there will be different opinions. Personally, I want to encourage devotees to read works of our acharyas. Specifically, what's for us to appreciate about the dramas of Srila Rupa Goswami is that through them, he's illustrating the many things which he is writing in a more theoretical way in Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu. And the whole notion of rasa is deeply tied in with the notion of drama. And so to go beyond just theory, he wants to show that Krishna's pastimes are dramatic, and through those dramatic, through this dramatic mode, we can understand how rasa, how it works. So I think in that sense, it's good. Chaitanya Charitamrita, there's a lot of discussion, especially I think in first chapter of Antyalila, glorifying Srila Rupa Goswami for his dramas, specifically because Chaitanya Mahaprabhu saw that he could really understand the pastimes of the Lord, and he could really understand the mood of Radha and Krishna. So I would say yes, why not?
Thank you. Thank you very much, Guru Maharaj. It's not that I'm going to really understand it on some very high levels, but in my own little level, I just feel a deep desire to understand or to ponder or to be part of our heritage.
Yeah.
Through this drama, through reading your books and your writing, and find it very pacifying for the mind, and the heart sort of opens more towards the Krishna's pastimes.
Very good.
Thank you very much, Guru Maharaj.
Very good. Okay. Maybe I'll just say a couple of words of news from what I'm doing beyond just sitting in a room all day and chanting. I'm also doing some other things. I've been writing this book, which has been, you can say, commissioned by the Australian BBT to help a general audience understand what is our deity worship all about. So about 2 months ago, I finished my draft of that, and I sent it to His Holiness Devamrita Swami, who is the person who asked me to write it. And I also sent it to 2 devotees to give me their feedback. One of them, a longtime devotee, and one a very new person, because I wanted to get the sense of what if, because it's for new people, what is clear, what needs more explanation, whatever. So a couple of days ago, I spoke with Devamrita Swami. He was giving me his response to the book, and he likes it. He said he read it aloud together with 2 other devotees, and he said basically it's all fine. He had 3 suggestions, fairly minor suggestions for improvement. So just to say, that project is going on. It's hopefully soon I can make the final adjustments to it and send it back. And then it will go for what's called line editing. Some devotee, we don't know who, will make sure the everything is as it should be. And then we'll see where it goes from there, how long it takes for the BBT to produce it. Devamrita Swami also told me that his book, his latest book, and I'm embarrassed to say I've forgotten the title. It's a small book, also meant for a general audience. Something hiding in nature, something like that. He said it's sold 400,000 copies. So, and that's a BBT book. So these books get around. What else is, I've just finished an article which I will be presenting in an academic conference of the American Academy of Religion and in the beginning of December in a panel. The title of the panel is The Implications of Being Earnest, Sincerity in South Asian Contexts. So that sounds very academic. My presentation is called Earnestness in Hearing and Reading the Bhagavata Purana. So this just became an opportunity. I found out about this panel. They were looking for one or two more scholars to participate. So I wrote up a proposal and it was accepted. Gives me a chance to speak about the Bhagavatam in, in an academic context. So that's coming up. And well, one more thing on my little world of writing is I got an email from the editor of this book series on animal ethics. I don't know if I told this last week or not, inviting me to write another book. He says, you've written a book on cows. This is very nice. It's been a success. Now, why don't you write another book on Hinduism and animal ethics? So I'm thinking about that. What I'd like to write is a book on animal ethics as yoga, because I think this will be more interesting than so-called Hinduism, but we will see. Let's see now. Dharmagupta, do we have our guest in yet?
Yes, Guru Maharaj. Guest is in and ready.
In and ready. Are you all ready? Okay, let's invite him in. There he is. Hare Krishna, Kripamoya Prabhu. We see your name, but we don't see you.
Ah.
Is it possible to see you?
Can you hear me?
We can hear you, but we cannot see you. Hare Krishna. Are you going to allow us to see you, or do you want to remain invisible?
No, I would love for you to be able to see me.
There's
slight technical hitch.
Oh,
let me just try one more thing. Try it again.
Okay, while you're doing that,
to relaunch myself.
Oh, okay. So I'll explain just a bit. Who is Kripamoya Prabhu? Kripamoya Prabhu, His Grace Kripamoya Prabhu is my godbrother in Great Britain. He is one of the pillars, we can say, of the British Yatra. There he is. Hare Krishna.
Oh, Hare Krishna.
Please accept our humble pranams. Vanchakalpatarubhyascha kripa sindhubhya evacha titanam pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namaha. Hare Krishna.
All glories to the Vaishnavas.
Thank you for joining us, Prabhu.
Thank you very much, Maharaj.
I was just explaining that you are one of the pillars of the British Yatra. I don't know how you feel about being considered a pillar.
Yes, I'll take that.
You'll take that, okay. And I don't know if you will mind being identified. Well, I would say it's an honor, but as you perhaps know, your daughter, Janava-jivani, has become, I think, more famous than you.
Yes. Yes. This is a great problem for me.
You have a sort of an identity problem with that, huh?
It must be Vishnu.
It must be Vishnu. Well, I want to, what is not known, of course, so many devotees know Janava-jivani and her very sweet voice and very powerful voice. What they don't know is that her father's voice is similarly a very fine singing voice. And that's one of the ways the devotees, especially in the UK, know Kripamoya Prabhu as a wonderful kirtaniya, leader of kirtan. But Kripamoya Prabhu is known in many other ways, and one of these ways is with respect to what has come to be called congregational preaching. And I thought it might be interesting to hear from you some reflections on your decades of experience with this. Maybe a way to start is with a little memory that I have from hearing a recording of a course that you gave at Bhaktivedanta College several years ago on congregational preaching, in which you urged your audience to develop, each one of them to develop their congregations. And I remember you saying, each one of you should have 50 people that you care for. First you said 50, and then after about 10 seconds, you said, why 50? You should each have 108.
Yeah.
And I was struck by that because I thought, actually, this is how the Krishna consciousness movement can expand in a real and important sense. So can that serve as a prompting for you to say something?
Oh, I don't need much of a prompt.
I gave you too much of a prompt. Okay.
It's my favorite subject, Maharaj. Thank you very much.
Okay.
Shall I speak for 3-4 minutes, something? Then we do questions?
You can speak for as long as you like. We will end about 55 minutes from now.
Okay, and then I say something a little about the Guru and Disciple book and how I wrote that and how it was part of the congregational.
That's what I was thinking. I thought
Yeah.
Start with congregation, and that probably will lead into your book.
Yeah. Okay, good. Thank you very much, Maharaj. Maharaj has been my friend for many years, and we have discussed many subjects. I hold him to be more intelligent than me, and therefore I read his books. I read his books in order to know how to think. So I consider that you're all extremely fortunate Of course, every disciple in ISKCON thinks that their guru is the best guru. In your case, you are correct.
Aww.
Vishnu, Vishnu, Vishnu.
So, like Maharaj, many years ago, we were simply disciples of His Divine Grace, and our job was that he wrote the books, the BBT published the books, and we sold the books. It was a very simple arrangement, and Srila Prabhupada thanked us for helping him spread the movement. I was personally in the room, and Prabhupada looked at me and said, "Thank you for helping me spread this movement." I thought, this is very wonderful. I am thanking him for saving my life, and he is thanking me for helping him spread the movement. But my dear devotees, there was a problem. We had a big problem. The problem is that when people read Srila Prabhupada's books, they become attracted to Krishna. This is a very big problem. Because as soon as they become attracted to Krishna, they want to do things for Krishna. They want to learn more, and they want to come into sadhu Sanga. During the time of Srila Prabhupada, Prabhupada started 108 centers. After Prabhupada's disappearance, we have started many more. But the majority of people who practice Krishna consciousness do not live in a temple. Many years ago, when your Guru Maharaj was young and I was young, when we were boys, every devotee lived in a temple. If you did not live in a temple or a traveling temple, you were not really considered a devotee. Now, 96% of devotees do not live in a temple, have never lived in a temple, and may probably never live in a temple. So we have gone from being a temple movement to a congregational movement in 50 years. This is not a weakness, this is our strength. It is a sign of success. It is a sign that somebody is reading the books and becoming a devotee. If we look at any other organization, any other movement, you will see the same type of development. In the beginning, a nucleus of highly committed people. After some time, things become much bigger. ISKCON, like any other organization, grows like an organism. Organism means where things are working together to sustain life. So one thing I saw at a particular point was that although we have devotees in the temples, and we have these new devotees outside the temples, It is not functioning as an organic whole. There was no connection. And so in England, we started something called the Friends of Lord Krishna. And the Friends of Lord Krishna was 3,000 people who were chanting japa, reading Prabhupada's books, and wanting to be devotees. But then we had a problem, that the devotees in the temple were chanting 16 rounds, and many of the 3,000 people were chanting 4 rounds. So of course, how can you be a devotee if you don't chant 16 rounds? So the devotees who chanted 16 rounds, they said to the devotees who chanted 4 rounds, when you become a real devotee, then it will be good for you. So in that way, we destroyed 5 years of preaching just like that. So this was most discouraging. So we had to find a way of understanding that a person's devotion is not directly proportionate to how they practice, if the practice is done with insufficient Sanga. So we had to create a network of groups and eventually create a mentorship system or counselor system where everybody who wants to is cared for by another devotee. So the system is one of connection, and the emotion which flows through that system is compassion. Without the connection, the compassion doesn't work. Without compassion, it's simply a mundane connection. So from senior to junior, it is said the compassion must flow like a waterfall. And from junior to senior, the respect, the inquiry, the questioning, the following must rise like smoke from a fire. So in this way, we try to connect things. But the most important principle was to tell our devotees that you are not simply the department in which you serve, that you're not simply a temple president, you're not simply a book distributor, you're not simply a pujari. Each one of you can have that compassion, and you can have 10, 20, 30, or as Maharaj mercifully said, 108 people that you are caring for.
That was you who said that.
You are reminding me of my generosity, Maharaj. So it means that every single devotee becomes not just a preacher, not just a book distributor, because these are things that we know, but everybody becomes a pastoral care worker, a minister to the spiritual needs of others. When I was very, very young, very passionate, I had heard that Prabhupada had said, everybody should distribute my books if you want to really please me. So I went to everybody in our temple in London and I said, you are not pleasing Prabhupada unless you sell his books. They said, oh, we had better do that. And so I started my friend and I, we started a small revolution in the temple. And there are many people who think, yes, Kripamoya, you did the right thing. But the head pujari noticed that some of the offerings were getting made late. Some of the cleaning was not being done. And so she wrote a letter to Srila Prabhupada. And when Prabhupada came next to that temple, he said, so all services to Krishna are equal. He said, in mundane life, if a man is working in the office and a woman is cleaning the office, there is supposed to be a difference in importance between them. He said, but in the spiritual world, he said, they're all equal because the center is Krishna. And then my friend thought that he would say something, he would ask Prabhupada a question which would really focus on the issue. So he put his hand up and he said, Srila Prabhupada, what will really please you?
A loaded question, we
A
call it.
loaded question. So Prabhupada said, he said, just try to love Krishna. He said, just try to love Krishna. Just try to serve Krishna in this life. Then he said, if a little ant is on the flower garland of Krishna and it falls off and it falls onto Krishna's feet, Krishna will say, oh, just see, this tiny jiva is massaging my feet, and he will accept it as service. He said, so in the same way, he said, what to speak of someone who has chosen to do service for Krishna? The ant is unconsciously doing service, and Krishna is accepting. You have chosen to do Krishna's service. What an opportunity. But all service is to develop your love for Krishna. So I thought about this many years later, and I thought, is the Hare Krishna movement a movement for giving out books and giving information about Krishna, or constructing temples so people can come and see Krishna? Or is it a movement for helping people to love Krishna? And according to what you think the movement is, you will act in a particular way. So our duty, I feel, is to follow the example of Prabhupada's guru, Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakura, who said that with every person, you have to see the spark within the heart, and your words have to fan those sparks into a flame. So every person that Krishna sends to us, he's been sent by Krishna. Prabhupada said that at Bhaktivinoda Manor in 1973. He said, when a person walks into the temple, you should think this person has been sent by Krishna. And it's a precious opportunity for me to help that person develop their love for Krishna. So it is not by accident that we meet people and like that. But if we are an organization that likes only to plant the seeds, but we don't like to pull up the weeds or to make water, putting water so the plant can grow, or giving them the sunshine of our company, then we will become a smaller organization, a smaller movement, and we shall not have the potential that was given to us. Maharaj, I think you know Dr. Narasimhachari from Oxford, who has now passed on to glory.
Yes.
He said to me, I asked him, I said, when Ramanujacharya was choosing 74 gurus to give initiation after him, what qualities did he look for? And he said, oh, he must know the Vedas, he must follow the Vedas, he must teach the Vedas. And he leaned forward and he said, and Ramanuja particularly, he said he must be friendly. He said, because that friendship will form a link between teacher and student, or the person who's preaching to the member. So that is a few introductory statements. I hope I was speaking slowly enough.
You were doing very well. You took me almost too seriously. I had sent a note to Kripamoya Prabhu saying, please keep in mind that we are having simultaneous translation going on. And you have taken this very seriously. Thank you.
Last couple of weeks ago, I was speaking in Russia. So there you have to take it very seriously.
Oh, yes. Everything is very serious in Russia. You mentioned the word minister, and I wonder how many of the devotees here are familiar with this sense of the word minister. We usually hear of government ministers, but in the Protestant Christian tradition, both in England and in the US, we have the notion of the person who ministers to people's religious and spiritual needs.
Yeah.
And maybe you can say just a little more on that. Let me also explain to the devotees that Kripamoya Prabhu is, I would say, one of the most expert and talented priests in our movement. And by that, I don't mean specifically activity of service on the altar, although that is also priestly activity, but more he still performs priestly service for weddings especially, and also I've seen for funerals. And he is expert at what is the function of a priest, which is, I would say, to cross or to bring together, to overcome boundaries and to bring people across those boundaries of time and space in very appropriate and wonderful ways. But you're also a minister to your congregations. So can you say a little more what that means to be a minister and to give compassion, as you've said, in these contexts?
Yeah, let me frame it. Many years ago, I was a brahmachari. I have not always been a grihasta. I was a brahmachari. And of course, in those days, if you were a brahmachari, you were a devotee. If you were a sannyasi, you were a super devotee. And if you were grihasta, you were fallen. And if you lived outside the temple and you were a grihasta, you were double fallen. We could not look at your face for fear of becoming contaminated.
No
So,
podíamos ver su rostro porque tenía que contaminarnos.
Yeah.
Whoops.
Okay. So, but even worse than this, we did not celebrate.
Oh, our translation in Spanish has leaked back in.
Yeah.
Okay. I go out.
Okay. Thank you.
We did not celebrate marriage. In fact, we offered our condolences. It was the funeral. It was the brahmachari's funeral to get married. We think "Oh, I'm so sorry to hear the news. We did not celebrate. We did not celebrate having children, because children was the product of this attachment to the material world. And so anybody that was married, anybody that had children, we felt that our duty was to preach to them so they could get out of Maya. So when a sadhu preaches that you should get out of Maya, it is all cutting language, cut. So what we didn't realize is that it takes an entire lifetime to get out of Maya. It takes an entire lifetime. Our experience was that we were in Maya. Someone came to us, gave us a book, we began chanting, and then we got out of Maya within about 6 weeks. So we thought if we went to the householders, in about 6 weeks, we would get them out of Maya. And of course, that meant you should leave your wife, you should leave your children. Obviously, you should put on saffron, because if you don't, how will you be out of Maya? So I think we probably lost a lot of people by that smashing technique. I would like to say that being a minister means to minister to people's spiritual needs where they are right now. Not where you would like them to be, not where you think they should be, but where they are now. And in order to minister, which means just to give them what they need, you must know what they need. So part of being a preacher or minister is first of all to listen. And we listen and we listen and we listen. And people tell us their problems. And from their problems, you say, aha, this is your problem. What can I possibly say in this circumstance to help you? In one part of the Bhagavatam, Srila Prabhupada says that Narada Muni knows the art of preaching to everybody. To the king, he says, how are your enemies? How are your citizens? And how is your treasury? This is Narada Muni's question. To a Brahmin, Narada Muni says, how is your struggle over the cycle of birth and death? To a Vaishya, he says, how is your business? To a Shudra, Narada Muni will say, how are they treating you? So in this way, Narada Muni is the best minister. And he even ministers to Mugrari the hunter, who is a non-vegetarian, by getting him to take the next step. So what is the next step for a person? That you have to know as minister. And compassionately, you have to make suggestions, not how they can become Krishna conscious in 6 weeks, but what is the next level, like that. Of course, you can be cutting at times if they invite you to be cutting. If they don't invite you, then be careful. Only when a person says, Shishaste ham shadimam tvam prapannam, then he can say, you nonsense rascal, you fool, you are crying for what is not worth crying. But if they have not asked you, then a minister has to be very careful. So in this way, we have people who've been devotees for 5 years, 10 years, and now we have people becoming initiated after 20 years. So interesting. So we've looked after them for a very long time, and now they're serious. So for every one serious person who becomes initiated after 6 months, there will be 10 more who get initiated after 3 years, and another 1,000 who get initiated after 5 years. So it is like a triangle. You know what a triangle? Triangle? Yeah. So at the top, or you could say it as like that. So at the bottom of the Hare Krishna movement, if you like, are people who have their needs administered to. And actually this triangle is conceived of by Prabhupada's guru, Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati. He had 10,000 disciples. This was told to me by His Holiness Jayapataka Maharaj. He said he had 10,000 disciples or more, and each disciple was looked after by a minister called a upadeshika. So you knew who to go to. You don't go to the acharya, you go to your upadeshika. The upadeshika, he was cared for, or she was cared for by a maha upadeshika. The maha upadeshika was cared for by a sannyasi, of which there were 18 sannyasis. And the sannyasis were cared for by the acharya. So in this way, it was a triangle where everyone was cared for by somebody. Now, of course, we have a triangle for Guru Maharaj's disciples, and today is such an opportunity. You are being cared for. But there are many people who are not Guru Maharaj's disciples, or they're not disciples of any Guru Maharaj, but they are also devotees of Krishna. If we don't claim them, someone else will have them. There are many people interested in the devotees that we make, but we don't minister to. There are many of them. And we've seen at different times in the past when ISKCON is working very, very hard to create devotees and then not looking after them, or thinking, well, it is not my job. It's the GBC is supposed to be looking after everybody, or they're supposed to be looked after by the temple president. But I think you will find that many, many people, you thought he is looking after them, or she is looking after them, and no one is looking after them. So everybody must be looked after by someone. And then we are very, very solid, and people will move forward. And a happy devotee will tell other people, I'm so happy. But an unhappy devotee, they will tell 12 people. Happy devotee tells 3 people. Unhappy devotee tells 12 people.
Or they don't tell anyone and you don't see them anymore.
Yes, yes, yes. Well, in the old days, they would just disappear. Now they don't disappear, they just go onto the internet.
Yes.
We know everything that everybody thinks now.
Oh, yes. Too
And
much.
unfortunately, everybody else knows what everybody thinks.
Oh, yes. And even if somebody is not really thinking, we know what they're not, what they're
Yeah, we do.
what they're not clearly thinking.
Yeah.
Yeah. You spoke about fanning the spark, this very nice image.
Yeah.
There's, I think maybe that can be a lead into your book, the Guru and Disciple book, which I have a copy of here, signed by the author.
Wow.
Wow. And I recommend it.
Thank you.
I give it 5 stars.
Wow.
Yeah.
Please leave your comments on Amazon.
Yes. So can you say a bit about how you came to write this? Perhaps I should first make a point that I hope everybody here already knows, but in case someone doesn't, because some devotees think that to be a guru,
Que para
one
ser guru
has to be a sannyasi.
tiene que ser sannyasi.
Whoops, we're getting our Daityesha back
Again?
in.
Again,
Yeah.
it's me. Okay,
It's
I
you
stopped
again.
bothering. Sorry.
So, of course, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu says, Kiba vipra kiba nyasi, shudra kene noi, jay Krishna bhakta veta se guru hoy. He's being inclusive of all the varnas and ashramas as who can be a guru. The qualification is that one knows Krishna. So we have Kripamoya Prabhu is a householder, wonderful family, I must say. And we're trying to also coax his good wife, Guru Charana Padma Mataji, to sometime come and speak about her experience leading Gurukul at Bhaktivinoda Manor. He has 3 wonderful children. I must say, I don't know your son so much.
Yes.
I know your 2 daughters, but not your son.
Yes.
How is he doing?
He's 23.
Uh-huh.
He's already working.
Uh-huh.
And he lived in the shadow of his illustrious sisters. So I think his development has been not so much to shine in the ISKCON sky, but he's very much a devotee, and he's working, and yeah, he's equally committed to Krishna consciousness in his life.
Very good. So Kripamoya Prabhu is a father and also spiritual father. And so that, I think, leads, in other words, he also has shishyas, disciples. So for this, you have written this book.
Yes. Can I say, in English, we have a word which to me is one of the most important words, is encouragement. I don't know how it translates in Polish or the different languages that you have, encouragement. But it means to give courage. And a minister gives courage where there is fear. Giving courage where there is fear does not mean that the fear disappears. It means that you are brave enough to take the next action, even though you might be frightened. And so a guru gives encouragement to a shishya, because the path of spiritual life invokes fear in the heart, because every step we take in spiritual life means, will I succeed? What happens if I fail? I have to give something up in order to make the next step in my spiritual life. Encouragement, therefore, has to come from somewhere. So that was the general principle: education and encouragement, and occasionally correction. Prabhupada told us that when he was on the ship to America, the captain had a compass. And he said, if the captain's compass was just 1 degree out, then the ship would drift off to Canada. Just 1 degree. By the end of the journey, the ship would be no longer in Boston. So he said, in the same way, the guru has to sometimes be a compass for the disciple, a course correction. So these different components must be there, and they must be there right through the system, whether individually between guru and shishya, or the guru's representative in the organization. So unfortunately, I have been, well, fortunately, I have been in ISKCON since 1974 in the United Kingdom. And we have had, let's just say, our fair share of disappointment in spiritual leadership. 1982, 1986, 1994, 2000. Different spiritual leaders have come and made it difficult for people. So over the years, there is not only a culture of disappointment, but a resistance to the standard narrative, the standard positive narrative of Guru Shishya Sambandh. And so for 10 years, we have had to not only teach the positive benefits of having a guru, but also explain the problems that were there in the past, not in a remote past in India, but in a recent past in our ISKCON movement. So in the old days, becoming initiated was easy because trust was very high. And now it is a little, it is easy, but it has to come with some explanations. So we were the first yatra in the world to teach an official guru and disciple course, which you had to take in order to become a devotee, an initiated disciple. And then the GBC said, we are combining our, we are creating our own ISKCON disciple course. Do you have some materials? We sent the materials to them, they created the course, and then I received a communication after 10 years of teaching the course, you can no longer teach the course.
What?
Because you are an ISKCON guru now, so you can't teach anybody about ISKCON gurus. So again, I said, well, I missed that. But there was...
I didn't realize that. So
Yeah.
I'm also disqualified.
You're disqualified. You can't teach about what you are. So I thought to deal with the many issues that had cropped up in ISKCON over the years, to deal with the false philosophies, to deal with the fears that people had expressed to me, the reservations, and many different reservations people have, to also deal with the lack of history. I saw that people were trying to understand the guru just from ISKCON's history, which is a very modern history.
Yeah.
So I thought to address this in different ways. And so I started writing a book. And by the time I finished writing the book, it was 400 pages. The Maharaj has kindly said that it is a good book. Thank you much, Maharaj. But it is in 6 sections. Maharaj, can you say something? I just need to get some water. My
Yes,
throat
please.
is, yeah, just say something.
Yes, go ahead. Yes, since I have the book in front of me, I can just make a quick overview of these 6 parts. The first part is called First Things First, in which he includes, for example, what are the Vedas in relation to other religions. He has one section within the first part I like very much. It's called Postmodern Views. Very interesting section. Part 2 is called The Ancient Culture of Learning, explaining things like shiksha and diksha and what he calls sliding definitions.
Yeah.
More about diksha, where can you find a guru? And so many subsections. Part 3 is called Creating and Sustaining Community, called The Guru Spreads His Arms. He addresses the question of organized religion, and then something about management, church or chapel. Very nice. And then the next part is called Shades of Saffron. He explains sannyas dharma, sannyas, the real and the false, undercurrents, white skin, orange cloth, GBC, saffron cardinals, reflections and reforms. Part 5 is called Gurus, Scandals and Issues. So getting right into the more troubling questions within our ISKCON history. Within this, he has a section called Diksha Light, L-I-T-E, explaining, in a bid to attract followers, some gurus offer initiation without training. Diksha and drugs, guru and disciple in therapy. I mean, everything is here. Loyal disciple or a mouse, question mark. And the final, part 6, is called Becoming a Disciple Today. Steps toward the big step. Are you ready for a guru? Serious to find a guru? Testing the guru? And finally, the path to initiation. Yeah, it's all here.
Yes. All human life is so I for instance, one area was maybe many people have heard of Ritviks, the Ritvik movement.
Mm-hmm.
Now not so active, but there was a magazine called Back to Prabhupada, and this magazine, Back to Prabhupada, was published from very near my house. And so I thought, let us deal with this subject once and for all. So I collected all the quotes by Srila Prabhupada about gurus in the future from 1966 or 1967 all the way to 1977 about who should be guru, whether Prabhupada wanted gurus after him, etc. And it seemed like Prabhupada thought it was a good idea. So if Prabhupada thought it was a good idea, what went wrong? So then there was a chapter about that. So because I knew all the arguments, each chapter deals with a particular argument.
Mm.
It's like Bhaktisiddhanta's Prakrita Rasa Shatadushani. Shatadushani is a book of arguments, 100 arguments, but you've got to know the arguments before you write the Shatadushani.
Mm.
So my book was sort of like, yeah, I've heard that one before. I've heard this argument many times. Let me write something about that. But of course, it wasn't just me. There have been devotees all over the world writing good arguments against bad arguments, but they weren't collected together in one place. So I thought, let me do that.
Mm-hmm.
And then many times, people were characterizing that ISKCON had a guru problem or guru issues, or did have. And I wanted to reframe that because we made the mistake of thinking that sannyasi means guru and guru means sannyasi. Whenever we have sannyasi difficulty, we characterize that or mislabel that as a guru difficulty.
Mm-hmm.
And so that was one thing I wanted to qualify. And then because we had, should we say, other members of other Gaudiya organizations coming who would give initiation without any training before and any training afterwards. It was sort of just a sort of an initiation hanging in midair. I said, well, people have to know that initiation does mean training before, and it does mean training afterwards. And it does mean having an organization like ISKCON. So if you're going to have an organization like ISKCON, why not ISKCON? In other words, if you're going to have some organization and an organization has already been created, why not just use that one? And, you know, I had to make the argument that being a devotee and being initiated isn't independent of ISKCON, that ISKCON is the name for the whole thing, not just the temples, not just a group of men who make decisions in Mayapur, but ISKCON is the whole movement. The fact that it's not connected in many areas doesn't mean that there's no less potential there. So Prabhupada would not have created ISKCON if it was not needed. Prabhupada never did anything that was a waste of time. When Prabhupada was asked, how long should puja take in the morning? He said, 10 minutes. when they said, can we have a book about Archana, you know, an Archana Padati? How long should the book be? And he said, 20 pages.
Yeah.
So Prabhupada did not like to waste time. So he would not have created ISKCON just to be a time-wasting exercise. The fact that he created ISKCON and the process of Diksha means that the two things were meant to go together. But whereas in the 1980s, we made the mistake of the ISKCON society not controlling the initiations at all, perhaps we've gone completely over the other way now. It's like ISKCON is controlling every aspect of the initiation.
Yeah.
Every aspect. And we need to, one of my favorite words is balance.
I was just going to say, I think that's where you and I really, we're on the same wavelength on that one.
Yeah. Well, it's funny, in my local temple, there are some people who say that, you know, I've been working with potential disciples for 2 years, and then I have to submit them to the temple president, who can then recommend them back to me.
Yeah. Even though
the
they don't,
who doesn't know them,
yeah,
to
he
recommend
doesn't
them
know
back
them.
to me.
Yeah.
Oy vey.
Oy vey. Yes. Prabhu, we have only 5 minutes left, and
Okay.
I thought we should see if there's any burning question to you from anyone who is with us.
Yes.
Please. We have from Mitra Balaram. He's just asking on the chat, what is the book of arguments against Ritvik? This, I think you're saying, is included in your guru and disciple book, isn't it?
Yes. The one book.
It's all in the one book. Yes.
At least the best arguments, I think. The best arguments are that Prabhupada wanted gurus.
Yeah.
He wanted a parampara.
I suppose at some point we could, if you would agree, we could discuss the more controversial question about women gurus, but I don't want to bring that up now.
Yes.
It seems like it's still a controversy. Anyway,
Yeah.
the book is available, I should mention, in Europe. It's available through Bhaktivinoda Library Services in Bangladesh. If you go
Is
to,
it?
isn't it? I think it
I-
is.
If
Oh,
they still
maybe
have
I'm-
some, if they still have some, that would be wonderful.
Oh,
But it's on Amazon, but only as
right.
digital. You just go to Amazon Books and click on Kripamoya, and the books are there.
Okay, so that's how you can get the book.
Yeah.
You've done another book also, which I happen to have.
Oh.
Yes, I'm your fan. This is a little collection of 3 books called Lost and Found, Frequently Asked Questions. And yes, volume 1, volume 2, volume 3. This is kind of, I would refer to this as a quick start instruction manual.
Oh, yeah. Thank you. I'll take that.
When you get a new computer, you get a quick start instruction sheet right on top when you first open the box, and it says step 1, unpack the computer. Step 2, plug it in.
Yeah.
So it's kind of like that.
Yeah.
Message from Rasodati Hari Prabhu. Dear Kripamoya Prabhu, Dandavat Pranam, Jai Srila Prabhupada. Is it that if one takes care of 108 devotees, it is a full-time activity? If one answers emails, phone call conversations, having face-to-face meetings, it takes a lot of time.
Yeah.
How one can deal with that?
One time Prabhupada was giving a talk, and he raised this question. He said, how one teacher is caring for hundreds. And he talked about a system where you have 10 that you look after, and those 10 look after another 10 each. So in that way, you are looking after 100 through those 10. In fact, the same system that Prabhupada operated when he created ISKCON and created his representatives. But these days, I'm looking after maybe only 50, 60 face-to-face, and then 200 with emails and messages that are sent to everybody. So I've chosen the people that I want to work with. I don't give myself too much to do because I know I have limitations, but dealing with different groups at a time. So on Monday, I speak to 40 people, and then Tuesday, I speak to 1 person. Wednesday is a small group. Thursday is another person. We'll do one-to-ones with people. And then the mentees who attend a mentorship thing, I do another group. And then we have a disciples group like this one. So Zoom is a blessing from God. And we also use something called WebEx, same type of thing. But it's how one person can communicate with many, I think you'll find. And yet make it seem personal. I also use MailChimp, which is a way of sending illustrated newsletters to many receivers. So that goes out to quite a few people. MailChimp, which is very convenient. And I also have a website, of course, which has got classes and kirtans and different things like that. So
yes,
I think it's not just for, a big ISKCON guru to have such things, but everybody who's looking after anybody should make use of modern technology to care for as many people as you can.
I was just going to say, I'll put it in the chat. your website, kripamoya.com. Yeah, very good. Well, the time has flown by. So on behalf of everyone, I want to thank you, Kripamoya Prabhu, for your kind and very wise and inspiring Sangha. Let it be not the last time. Yeah, next time we can discuss something maybe more controversial.
Yes.
That
As you
always
wish, Maharaj.
attracts attention. Huh?
As you wish. I'm at your command.
Also, I want to mention this coming Wednesday, I believe it is Srila Prabhupada Tirobhava Titi, the observance of his departure from the world. Iris has mentioned that according to the solar calendar, it would be today. So we have that observance coming. Some devotees call it that we celebrate that day. I don't like to call it a celebration. I prefer to call it an observance. But of course, in a sense, it is also a celebration that Srila Prabhupada is has shown us the way back to Godhead and is there waiting for us, if you like. Yeah, so I think that's pretty much all from me for now. My best wishes to all of you this next week. Day by day, some of you in the what is it called? The 16 rounds group, Club 16. And we have a Club 16. Kripamoya Prabhu.
Very nice.
Which is that it's about chanting 16 rounds in one go.
Oh, very good.
So we have that going on, especially in this month, but some devotees are doing since some years, keeping each other inspired to sit down and chant 16 rounds nonstop. And yes, best wishes, keep healthy, keep well this next week, and start getting your congregations organized. And we can take further advice from Kripamoya Prabhu how to do that. Hare Krishna, Srila Prabhupada ki jai.
Jai, jai,
Ananta Koti Vaishnava Vrinda ki jai. Gaura Premanande Hari Hari Bo.
Hare 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 Hare.
Hare Krishna.